It's one of the big stories we're tracking for you this Thursday. D-Day for driver's license card renewals after numerous extensions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And more recently, that faulty card printing machine, the loan machine that we have in the country. The Traffic Department says there will be no further extensions. In a press release, the Automobile Association says a crisis looms as most motorists are still without their licenses. In fact, let's speak to AA spokesperson Leighton Beard, who joins us via our video link this morning. I mean, Leighton, we're hearing that 500,000 people are sitting with expired licenses. Given that and a whole range of other issues, COVID-19, the broken machine, it doesn't make sense that there's not going to be an extension to today.
No, I think let's just clarify one issue, Michelle. COVID-19 exacerbated a problem that was already there. It didn't create the problem. The problem was already there. Yeah, I mean, I think we made the point in our press release that it's government's responsibility to provide a framework where citizens can easily access services, and those services are provided efficiently and at an affordable price. Mm-hmm. And quite obviously, in terms of motor vehicle related issues such as renewing driving licenses or even motor vehicle licenses, that system is broken. And people struggle to get these documents. They wait an inordinately long time to get them once they have applied and paid for them, if they are lucky enough to get to that stage. And what we are seeing now is that because the system was working against people and for whatever reason they weren't able to get those things renewed, they are now being penalized, or they are going to be penalized through no fault of their own, and there is not going to be another extension. So I think we definitely would like to see an extension of this deadline period, perhaps by at least another 6 months, just to give everybody an opportunity to get these documents and to clear that backlog. Yeah. It's not going to happen today, but it needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the ease of applying for a document like this one in South Africa. It's incredibly difficult, and as it happens, I actually picked up my new driver's license card in Sandton in Johannesburg this week, and there were so many people in the queue just picking up their cards which they'd already applied for, and they happened to not have the receipt for that card. They were then told, Leighton, so many of them, that they needed to go to the SAPS and get an affidavit saying that they don't have the receipt, even though they had their IDs and their driver's license, their old driver's licenses with them. I mean, this kind of bureaucratic red tape does not help the situation either.
It certainly doesn't. And I'll tell you another thing, Michelle. The problem with that is that that's not a consistent approach at all the DLTCs across the country. You could walk into a DLTC in Kempton Park with your ID book only, without the receipt, and you can get your driving license. There are some places that it can happen. So there is that problem too. There is a lack of consistency. There is a lack of providing an efficient service. I mean, people from what we've been told, people have really gone to great lengths to try and get these documents renewed. And, either the line was too long or they couldn't access the booking system. We've heard stories of people who've been 6 or 7 times and have failed to do this. So, yes, I mean, government needs to provide that framework, and it needs to be consistent across the country, and it must be a pleasant experience, and it's certainly not pleasant at the moment.
People taking time off from work, trying to go in their lunch hours. We're hearing stories of people having to take days off, annual leave, to try and sort out documents like a driver's license.
Yes, and I mean, we're also dealing with people who have children. They've got to drop children off at school. They've got to make alternative arrangements to have those children maybe picked up. I mean, people have lives and people have commitments. Renewing your driving license is not the only thing in your life on any given day. And it needs to be a system where you can easily access the system. And here's the thing. People want to be legal on the road. In our experience, the vast, vast majority of South Africans want to be legitimate. They want to be legal on the road. And they will go to whatever, not whatever, but they will go to great lengths to remain legal on the road. But if the system is working against them, at some point, people are just going to say, well, you know what, I have no other choice. I don't have more leave. I don't have time to do this. I'm going to have to drive illegally. Yep. And that's a situation nobody wants in South Africa.
Yeah, and of course the lone driver's license card printing machine that was broken for all of that time. There were issues here working against people renewing their driver's licenses. They were literally unable to do so.
You're absolutely right. I mean, forget about the printing machine, because we're assuming if the printing machine was out of action, people had already applied for it at that point. The problem is at the point of interface. When you walk into a DLTC, are all the machines working? Is everything online or is everything offline? Is, the machine to test eyes, for instance, is that working? Is the fingerprint stuff working? Are computers talking to the NATO system? Is the card machine working? Can they accept whatever payments I have? So these are the types of issues people have. And they find when you go into these DLTCs that many of these things are broken. So, yes, the Department of Transport has got 2 flagship DLTCs, one in Centurion and one in Midrand. And by all accounts, these are amazing centers. And people are helped very quickly. The issue is why is that type of experience not replicated across South Africa? And if it can be done there, why can't we do it in every other place? So the added problem is the minister will tell you, well, if you live in Gauteng, simply go to one of those 2. Well, that doesn't work for people who live maybe in Soweto. It doesn't work for people who live, in Hammanskraal. And that is the problem. These types of centers need to be efficient and good wherever they are, not in these 2 isolated places where we find them at the moment.
So we're expecting to hear we're hoping to get a lot of clarity from the minister when he does give that briefing tomorrow. It was meant to be today, postponed due to a cabinet meeting. It's now tomorrow. What's your take, Leighton, on the issue of extending the validity period for a driver's license from 5 to 10 years?
No, absolutely agree with that. I think that's one of the things that we've, along with others, been advocating for a long time. It makes a lot of sense to say, look, let's just extend that period to 10 years and be done with it. In February, the minister mentioned that research was being conducted into the feasibility of it. Well, we believe and we've seen that this is something that works across the world. There's absolutely no reason why that shouldn't be extended to 10 years. It'll ease the pressure on the system. The only requirement will be an eye test that should be uploadable electronically once it's done. That, for us is absolutely essential. And payment should be done online. And, if you've got those 3 things in place as a start, we think you're going to ease a lot of pressure on the system currently as it is.
Yeah. As always, Leighton Beard, thanks very much indeed for giving us some clarity on some of those big issues. Spokesperson for the AA. And of course, if you are one of those people impacted by the deadline being today and at this point there being no extension, do tweet us at Newzroom 405.